Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Today we're going to start on Hey Amid Aleph Tashima, about six lines from the top. Tashima the Tani Rami Bar Chama. Yeah?
What is it?
Amid Aleph.
Salad?
Hey Amid Aleph. Okay, we thank Hashem that we're able to learn Torah every day. In the source of our learning, we have the Beis Hamikdash, learning in the memory of Zahava Golda Bas Baruch Ben Yamin, and also for whoever needs to refer Shlema. Okay, so we had a machlekes that, yeah, something's wrong with the air conditioner. We had a discussion about two comments, two halachas of Reb Chia. The first halacha was that we know there's a rule of Maida b'miktas, that if someone does a partial admitting to a claim that's made against him, a partial admission, so he needs to take an oath, right? So came along Reb Chia and said, by the way, if not only if he did the partial admission, but if witnesses testified that he owes part of that money, so he also needs to take an oath. That's the first Reb Chia. Second Reb Chia was that even if he says, oh, thank you, even if he says that, and here it is, which the Gemara calls Halach, here it is, that's also considered a partial admission, even though he it's sort of like starting over the whole case because he already returned whatever he admitted to. And now it's denying everything. And by denying everything, you don't have a shvua midairaisa. So, but nevertheless, Reb Chia says it's not starting over. And Reb Sheshis argued on that. Okay. Now, Gemara has a question now on Reb Sheshis. Tashima, come and listen. It says, the Tani Rami Bar Chama. Rami Bar Chama taught. Rami Bar Chama is a student of Reb Chisda. It's a friend of Rava. He taught the following. Taught that that even though normally we would say when we learned Bab Metzia in school, right? And Hamafkid and this, we learned that a shamer has to take a shvua, an oath, that it wasn't in his possession, that he wasn't. Oh yeah, were there 3 oaths that he has to take? He has to take a bunch of oaths. One of them is that he wasn't negligent. Okay. And the other one is that well, it's not in his possession. It wasn't negligent, and I think he has to take the oath that it was stolen, right? Or a 9%. Okay. Now, okay, those are those. Now, it comes along Rami Bar Chama and says that oath is only when he admitted and he also denied. In other words, because it says in the parsha of Shemrim, the pasuk of Ki Hu Zeh, so we say that the rule of a shemer that makes an oath is only when you combine with that a Maida b'miktas as well. We had this in Baba Kama, and we said that there's machlekes 2 ways of learning that Ki Hu Zeh in the pasuk. Do we say Irav Parshas Kasav Khan, that we have the laws of Maida b'miktas in the wrong section, and it's really talking about when someone gives a loan? Or do we say, like Rami Bar Chama is teaching, that it's not Irav Parshas, the fact that it says Maida b'miktas by the Shemrim, specifically by the Shemrim? Okay, so now, Rami Bar Chama says that they need to deny and they need to also admit. So what would the case be when someone has 3? We'll see in a second. What are the Shemrim? Shemrichinim v'ashel nesisach v'aseicher. Hechidami. What's the case? Lav damar lehelach. Must be that he told him, here it is. Now, what's going on now is that he has 3 cows that he is watching for him. One of them, when it comes to returning, he doesn't give any of them back, except for one. He doesn't give 2 of them back. One of them, he says, I don't know what you're talking about. You never gave me that cow. The next one, he says, okay, you're right. I owe you a cow. Here it is. And the other one, he says that it was stolen. Let's see, so it was stolen, now he's potter. So he said, oh, he was Maida b'miktas. He agreed to one cow. He denied the other cow, right? So that's Maida b'miktas. He agreed to one and not the other. And then one of them, he has to take the Shvus HaShemrim, which is that it was stolen, and he's supposed to be exempt if he's an unpaid watchman. So what we're seeing here is that we have a case of Maida b'miktas even by Halach, even by when he says, here it is, which is not what Rav Shesha said. Rav Shesha said, if you hand it back, then that's not a Maida b'miktas. If you give it back on the spot, it's not a Maida b'miktas. And here we're saying that it is a Maida b'miktas. So the Gemara answers, Loi, that's not the case. You made up that case. It says, Damarle really said, Gimel Paras Masaitlach, I gave you 3 cows. Umesu Kula b'pshia. And he claims them. They all died because you were negligent. And he says, he responds back, first of all, one of them you never gave me. It was only 2. One of them didn't die with negligence. It died because of a extreme accident. And one of them, you're right. That I owe it to you. What we switched between the question and the answer was if the cow is still existing. In the question, we thought the cow is still existing and he's handing it back, which is the way we spoke about it. Pikadan, that whenever there's an object that he's watching, he has to give it back right away, right? But what's your claim? How can you claim anything that would exempt you? Either give it back or he's lying or whatever. So we were thinking that this Shvus HaShemrim has to be a case of Halach, because if you're Maida, if you're admitting to something, that means that you're handing it back. So now we're saying that no, the object doesn't exist. He's admitting that it was b'pshia, that it died b'pshia, by negligence. That's what he's admitting to. Okay, so it's not a case of Halach. So we have no kasha on Rav Sheshes. Itashima, you can ask a kasha on Rab Chia. The Tani Avua de Rabbi Turiki, father of Rabbi Abturiki, taught. Does the Koran say anything about Rabbi Abturiki? Abturiki.
It says from the Latin for
okay.
Meaning of noble and
when did he live? Doesn't say when he lived.
Just as a comment on the name.
Wow. Okay. Rabbi Abturiki taught in Ledibri Rab Chia Kamaisa, and this was going to be a question on the first Rab Chia. First Rab Chia spoke about if witnesses testify to half, that's considered a Maida b'miktas. That it said like this: Manali biyadcha, if someone Reuven claims from Shimon, you owe me $100. The other one says, Ein lecha biyadi klam. I don't know you anything. The witnesses testify that he does owe 50. I could have thought that he has to take an oath like Reb Chia says, Talmud Leimer al kol aveda sheyemer ki yuzeh, on every lost object that the person says, ki yuzeh, this is it that I owe. Aleidos pivat mechayvai. He only has to take the oath on what he admits. The fact that it has those words, ki yuzeh, it's coming to teach me that it's only when he admits himself, but not when witnesses come. Apparently, some of those words are extra. Maybe the zeh or the hu, and so because of that, it's coming to tell me that it's only when the shomer admits. It doesn't have to be a shomer; it could be a borrower. Only when the borrower admits, but not when witnesses testify.
Looks like here's the only place where he comes.
Afturiki. No, but you're not even getting it from the Gemara. You're only getting it from Tosfos. Yeah, it's not a perfect search. Something's wrong with that.
Maybe the spelling.
Maybe the spelling is different. Right.
They write it with an F and this one they write it with a P.
Okay, whatever. I don't know. It wasn't in the original. It wasn't with either of those. Okay. So you don't have to take an oath if witnesses testify. Basically, what we're holding right now is that Rab Chia said that's considered a Maida b'miktas. That's considered that the person is doing a partial admission, and he's denying the rest. How is that considered? Because witnesses would be just as good as his admitting. Comes along Rav Abturiki, quotes a brisa, and says that that's not true. Now we have a kasha from Rabbi Abturiki and Reb Chia. Reb Chia says that is a ma'id b'miktas. Abturiki says that it's not. Avuad Rabbi Abturiki. Gemara asks, Masnisa karamas aled Reb Chia. You're quoting a brisa to ask on Reb Chia. Reb Chia tanu palag. Reb Chia is a tana, and he can argue on the brisa. Reb Chia is a student of Rebbe, so he's the uncle of Rav. If Rav is a tanu palag, well, that could be because Rav was great. But time-wise, at least, Reb Chia was before Rav, and he's a student of Rebbe, and he can argue on the brisa. He's the editor of the brisas. So you're asking a question. It's not a question. He could say differently. One second. How could Reb Chia say differently? Rab Tariki, Avud the Rab of Tariki, brought a verse that says that we have extra words that teach me that it's only when he admits that there's a ma'id b'miktas and not when witnesses tell us. It says Ahula ma'id b'miktas ataina. That's coming to teach me the original halacha. Sounds like there's nothing extra. That there's a ma'id b'miktas. There's a concept of ma'id b'miktas. It's not coming to tell me that it doesn't apply when witnesses testify. The father of Rab Tariki, he would tell you, ksiv hu, ksiv zeh. It has these extra words. It says, ki hu zeh. Apparently, those one of them is extra. Say, because this or because it, right? Who means this, and who is it, and zeh means this. So one of them is teaching me one is telling me that it's only by this and not by witnesses. So it's a miyat. The extra word is a miyat. It's coming to tell me no, that it doesn't apply to anything else. Zeh, I guess, would mean only this, and not if there's witnesses there. V'idach. So what would Reb Chia do? Reb Chia, how does he get out of this? He says that that's considered a ma'id b'miktas. He says, Chad, one of those words, who was l'mayda miktas ataina. It's coming to teach me, that a mayda b'miktas takes an oath. If he had partial admittance, takes an oath. Chad l'mayda b'min ataina. One of them is coming to tell me that it only applies if he was tarnu chitim v'haydalei b'chitim. If he claims you owe me wheat and he denies, it's I only owe you half of what you're claiming in wheat. But if he says you owe me wheat and he says I don't owe you any wheat, but I do owe you barley. So then that's not considered ma'id b'miktas because what he claims from him, he never admitted at all. So that's what the other one is. It's only if he's admitting to the exact claim, to partial of the claim itself. V'idach. So what is the Rav Avud or Rav Tariki? Where does he get that from? That it's only if he's admitting to the claim itself. He can't be admitting to barley if the guy's claiming wheat. It says ma'id b'minatayna lesta. He actually doesn't hold that. He holds that it's a ma'id b'miktas even if he admits to barley. V'savalak Rabbi Gamliel. It's a machlokes. So he goes the other way. So he doesn't need the pasuk for that. The Tanana was taught in the Mishnah. Tana chitim v'haydalei b'zer and pater. So if the guy claims you owe me wheat, and he says no, I don't, but I'll admit that I owe you barley. So that's not a ma'id b'miktas, even though barley could be less expensive.
Do we trust him because he lied from the get-go? He said that he doesn't know anything, and witnesses find out that he has half. So if he admits saying, "Yeah, it's right, I only have half. I don't have the other half."
Yeah.
How do we
trust him?
Yeah.
The Gemara is going to discuss that coming up. The basic idea is that since we quoted Rabbah. Rabbah says that he's not a real liar. He's just trying to avoid paying it right now because he doesn't have the funds right now. He's not lying like that. He's just trying to get out. So therefore, we'll trust him if he takes an oath. Rabbi Gamliel Mechayev, and Rabbi Gamliel says Chayev. Rabbi Gamliel says Chayev. So the father of Rabbi Tariki would hold like Rabbi Gamliel, and Rabbi Chia would not hold like Rabbi Gamliel. And that's how we have the verses. Everything matches up. So the ki huzeh, the extra word of the ki huzeh, according to Rav Avud, Rav Tariki, is coming to tell me that it doesn't apply to witnesses. And according to Rav Chia, it's coming to tell me that it doesn't apply to if he admits to barley. All right. Ahuraya. There was a shepherd. This is a complex story. There's a lot of details. It's like unclear, like what exactly is the main point of the story. We'll see in a second. Every day, you see, a shepherd would like go around and collect the sheep from from all the sheep owners, and then he would take it out to pasture and bring it back in the evening, like a school bus with kids instead of kids, right? So yeah, every day they would give the animals over with witnesses. Witnesses would see that they're giving it to the shepherd, which would mean that he would have to give it back with witnesses as well. One day, they said, we do this all the time. We don't need witnesses. And they gave it to him without witnesses. Big mistake, right? The safe, what is that?
No car seat.
No car seat. The safe, Amar Lahu. In the end, he tells them, I don't know what you're talking about. You never gave me today. Show me, bring me witnesses. So you gave me things. That was it. No more sheep. Asusadi, witnesses came. Witnesses came and they said, look, we saw him eating 2 of the sheep, like the tongues, something. I don't know. But anyway, we have witnesses that he took 2 of them. Yeah, probably. Amar Reb Zera. Reb Zera says, look, if we're going to paskin like the first Reb Chia held that if witnesses testify to part of claim, that's considered a maida b'miktzas. So mishtaba shara, if we accept Reb Chia Kamaisa, he's going to have to take an oath on the other ones. Amalei Abaya says, listen, Jonathan, this is your discussion. Imisa mishtaba. You think that if
kids for kids.
If we're going to accept Reb Chia Kamaisa, then we're going to make him swear. But Gazano, he's a thief. This was your question. He's a thief. Big problem. What would we say? How could we get out of this? If we would say, how did we get out of this in the past? We said that he owed money, and he didn't have the money right now. But here, he's not owing money. Here, he has objects. He has items.
Did they find out that he was actually?
We have 2 witnesses that he took 2 of them.
Don't we say that?
I'm sorry?
We say that somebody can not be trusted for being a thief, but can be trusted. Like it's a higher thing to swear falsely. So a person can be a thief and still be afraid of swearing falsely.
Right. But when would we say that we don't trust the person? You're saying only if he swore falsely once.
Yeah, something like that.
But a Goslin is puzzle. He's a real Goslin. Real Goslin would be puzzle. Puzzle Eidos. Anyway, the Gemara is this is the discussion here. Do we say that if you trust someone, that if you don't trust someone for money, that means that you still would trust them for taking an oath? That's a discussion here. According to Abaya, well, Gazanu, the guy's a regular thief. You can't trust him. Zamalei. So who was saying this? Reb Zera. Reb Zera says, "Shekeneg de kamina." I meant that we have to flip the shua over to the other side. Now, normally, when someone is exempting himself from paying, he's the guy that takes the oath, not the guy that's claiming. The guy that's claiming usually doesn't take the oath. It's always, you want me to pay you, so I'm going to take an oath that I don't owe you anything. And then I get out of it. But over here, because he can't take the oath, because we don't trust him, so then we're going to flip it over to the other side, and we're going to have the other side rear, but we're going to say that the guy that's claiming, he's going to take the oath that he owes him everything. Okay?
Before there was a discussion that like he could be a liar, but didn't mean that he would take like a false oath.
Right.
Like once the person took a false oath, then would no longer be a liar.
Right. Over here we're saying that because he's a Goslin, that he's going to be puzzle. No, we said 1 second. We said we had a case before. A kaifer b'milveh, someone that denies a loan, is still kosher leidus. But a kaifer b'pikadon, someone that denies that an object was put in his care, then he's puzzle leidus. Why? Because he can't say that I don't have the money right now. Because where's the object? So then he's a thief.
It's well said, at least.
right? It's only it's only why before were we saying that he was able to make a swear of Maidav Mixas? That was because we were thinking that maybe he's not a real thief. He's just doesn't have the money right now and he's trying to postpone it. We don't want him to do that. So we put an oath on him so he shouldn't postpone. He should admit right away and he'll pay whatever the payment plan is. Okay.
And he pays an
We'll
extra
see. We're gonna get into this on the next page.
So it's not.
Hold it. We'll see on the next
and
page.
he
It's
pays
gonna
an
be a
extra
big
fifth
discussion.
or a half or whatever the fine is. There's a
If he
fine.
takes a false oath and admits. Okay, so now what we just said is that we're going to flip the shvua. We're going to switch it over to the other side. Okay, now Taisus has a question over here that we don't say this in other cases. In other cases, we say that if a person can't swear, he has to pay. You have a rule. You're not able to swear, so pay. And over here we're saying, oh, you're not able to swear. Okay, we'll switch it to the other side, and the other side will swear.
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, Taisus goes through some details of when we say this, when we say that.
It's rough. Swearing is a serious thing.
Right.
Very serious.
Right. And now this,
Now the guy is innocent. He didn't do anything wrong.
he's claiming money, and now he has an oath.
Now he has to have an oath. Many
Right.
people don't rather not swear
Right.
and just lose the money. So
Right.
why are you gonna make, because we know the other guy is a thief. You're making
Maybe-
the good guy.
Exactly.
Nothing
I don't
wrong.
know about that. These days, people swear all the
No,
time.
no, swearing is a very.
I know. I'm just
serious
saying,
thing.
like
It's huge.
these days, a lot of people, especially William, they
I
swear
don't
all the
remember
time.
which, I don't know if it was a ton or where he passed away, he said he never swore. Woo!
Even
Those are
even the
huge things.
Gentiles are not allowed to swear. Part of the seven. No,
Rabbi
it's
Shua
just
ben
way to
Levi,
say.
maybe. Rabbi Shua ben Levi.
Oh, he's sure been lazy.
Okay.
How do you eat 2 sheep in a day?
Yeah,
Such a
I was
big
thinking
thing
maybe
to
he just
swear.
wanted the tongue. Yeah, I don't know. No,
Sold it.
maybe I made it for bringing.
So everyone that ate from it will be high.
No. Okay. So Hasanami, the lesser Rabbi Chia, Rab Nachman, the Gemara says 1 second. He should, if you're ready to do this, you're ready to put an oath on him and then flip it and then put it over on the other side. So now we have another rule from Rab Nachman. Rab Nachman instituted Shvus Hesses. Shvus Hesses is when someone, see, usually what happens is like this. If I tell you you owe me $100, you say no, I don't. So I have no proof, and I can't claim. There's nothing. Okay, finished. Then the case is over. You said no, I don't. So okay, you don't. So if I want to get the money, I'm gonna have to come up with some proof, some witnesses, a document, something. Reb Nachman said that no one would really go over to someone and say you owe me $100 if it's not true. There's probably, if you're ready to say that, then you probably have some reason why you're saying it. Because of that, they instituted that if you're going to deny everything, you're going to need to take an oath, a rabbinic oath. It's called the Shvus Hesses. No, I'm not sure what the word Hesses means. But do they have a comment on Shvus Hesses? Hesitoi. I think it means Hesitoi. Rashi says Hesitoi. It's a inducement. Is that what they
Oh,
say?
yeah, there's.
Rashi says incitement. It's to induce or incite him to admit. Shvus Hesses. Because we think that if someone's making a claim like that, so then we think if someone's making a claim that he probably has some background to it. He has some backup. And so therefore we try to convince him that the defendant to admit, and so we impose on him this rabbinic oath. So now we're saying we thought that this is going to be a Maida b'miktas because of Reb Chia Kamaisa, because of the first statement of Reb Chia, that because they have witnesses that are saying that he ate too, so now he has to take the Maida b'miktas oath because of witnesses saying it. They said, forget about Reb Chia Kamaisa. It's even Reb Nachman. It's even the Shua of Reb Nachman. The Shua says that he denied everything. Let him take that oath. He said, oh, but he can't swear because we know that he's a liar. Okay, so the other side will swear. The Gemara answers like this. But the Tanana was taught in the Mishnah. If someone says you owe me $100, the other guy says no, I don't. So he's exempt. Reb Nachman says that he has to take that oath to be impose on him an oath to incite him, induce him to admit. The Gemara answers, Reb Nachman Takanti. That's a rabbinic institution. Now you want to add a rabbinic institution on top of a rabbinic institution because you want to say that the other side should be swearing that you can't stack up those rabbinic. Yeah, but the kanta lay of din and we're on top of ham and base. We don't make that decree on top of another decree. Okay. So he would only have to take the oath if we would accept Reb Chia, which is Reb Chia Kamaisa. Kamaisa means the first statement of Reb Chia, that if witnesses are there, that he has to take a Moed B'Miktas oath. The Gemara says, 1 second. I thought every shepherd is a thief. V'amar Rav Yehuda stam raya apostle. He's a shepherd. He's a thief. Why is the shepherd a thief? Shepherd is a thief because they graze they take the animals to graze on other people's property, and so unless you know for sure that he's kosher, you assume that he's a thief.
I think as far as
But they say,
I think when it comes to witnesses, I think you're allowed to have a shepherd. I think there was like some sort of exceptions. Some like a shepherd who works.
yeah, we're gonna see now. We're gonna see now. We'll see now an exception.
All shepherds are thieves.
Right. Right.
No, we're just saying.
1 second. Let's get to the answer.
One sec.
One second.
But they say it's not that you can't. It's not that you can't do the nursing home business. Honestly, it's just that no one ever tried. Okay. Okay. So yeah, they say with used cars, whatever the thing is, it's like the Polish jokes,
Don't make fun of Polish jokes.
Okay. Chelm. I'm Rav Yehuda, stam raya apostle. Rav Yehuda says that a shepherd is apostle. Okay, the Gemara says like kasha, it's not a problem because hadi day, hadi alma. It depends. If it's his own sheep, then he takes care of them differently, and he's going to take his own animals into other people's fields. But if it's other people's sheep, then why does he care to steal for their sheep? He'll take them, he'll schlep them out. If we don't say this, then how are we allowed to give our animals over to a shepherd? The problem is, if he's going to steal, then we shouldn't be giving it to him because we're putting a stumbling block in front of him, and he's going to cause him to steal just for us. We assume that a person would only sin if he gets personal gain. He won't sin if he doesn't have personal gain. He doesn't sin for other people. Yeah. Okay. So it's only because over here we have witnesses that say that he took the sheep that we say that he's puzzled. Okay. And then we would have to flip it over to the other side gets the oath. We're going to go back now to the Mishnah. The Mishnah said that each one, two people are holding on to talis, right? This one says the whole thing is mine. This one says the whole thing is mine. So we end up saying that this one has to take an oath that I don't have any less than half. And this one takes an oath that I don't have any less than half. Now the Gemara has a question. The Gemara says, Al the Islay Mishtabay, al the Leslie Mishtab. What type of oath does he take? Does he say that I have half? Or that I don't have less than half? Now the problem what the Gemara is really thinking here is the Gemara is saying, when a person says I don't have any less than half, how much does he have? 50 or more. But there's also a possibility that he doesn't have anything. I don't have less than half. All it means is that I don't have a third, I don't have a quarter, an eighth, whatever. But maybe I have not. I don't have less than half. Could be that he has nothing, and he's still not lying. And I can imagine the judge saying, "But you know what I meant." Okay, so Amar Rav Huna answers this. He says, "We have to add in a little clause over here to say I'm taking a note that I have something, but it's not less than half. Otherwise, it could be that he has nothing." Why doesn't he just say what he's claiming? To let him take the oath that he has the whole thing, all right? So it says, Are we going to give him everything? There's a problem over here. If he takes an oath, we would like that the verdict should be according to the oath. And if it doesn't work out like that, then it looks like a problem in the Bezdin. It's like something's wrong with this Bezdin. The guy took an oath this and they gave him that. That doesn't look good. So they want him to give him whatever the oath is. So they don't want him to swear that everything is mine and then they only give him half. Why don't you just say that I have half? Yeah, but this is exactly what he's going to get, right? Is half. Gemara says, Mar leila dibure. That doesn't look good either, because he claimed when he walked in that the whole thing is mine, and now he's taking an oath that what I said before is not true. I'm taking an oath that I have half. It looks like he's claiming against himself. He's taking an oath against himself. So hashtanami mar leila dibure. 1 second, when he says I don't have any less than half, that's also a problem. He says no. The Amar Kula Shali. He says the whole thing is mine. According to you, that you don't trust me that the whole thing is mine, so then I'm taking an oath that I don't have any less than half. Now, is he Mar Leila Dibure? It's not mamish mar leila. It's not ruining his own words, because he's not saying that I have only half, that I have half. He's saying I don't have less than half. So you can read into that more, that he has more than, okay. 1 second. I have two people holding on to this. Two people holding on to it. So automatically it belongs to whatever they're holding on to. Whoever's holding on to whatever part belongs to him. So if he's holding half and he's holding half, we'll see exactly how that works. But then, why do we have to take an oath? It's just each one has what he has. Don't take an oath. There's no who needs the oath. Just cut it in half and it'll be theirs. Rabbi Yochanan said, this is what we had before. This oath was instituted by the sages. Rabbi Yochanan says we want to discourage people from going and grabbing onto other people's items and then saying that it's mine, and then they're going to end up with half. So in order to discourage that, we put an oath on anyone that claims that this is his.
That's what we said at the beginning.
Yeah. Now, basically, according to Rabbi Yochanan, we don't trust this person that he's really honest. We think he's a regular ganav. Yeah. He's walking over to him, grabbing his talis, saying that it's mine, hoping to get half. In order to discourage him, we're saying that, okay, take an oath.
Columbus discovers America. He says, "This is all mine."
Columbus.
And
Nice Jewish boy, leave him alone. Split it. Nice Jewish boy, leave him alone.
He's the one causing all the
yeah,
problems.
in this, that's the interesting part with this Gemara, is that we're avoiding the laws of who actually owns this garment. They found it on the street. It must be that there's no simon, the person gave up hope, and they're able to keep it. So, yeah, over here, this is, what do they say? That is the only way to know if a man is honest is to ask him. If he says yes, he's a liar. So, okay. So here, how could we're trying to get him to not to do what we think that he could be doing, which is grabbing someone else's talis and claiming that it's all his. So in order to get him not to do that, we're imposing on him an oath that he shouldn't. The Gemara says, 1 second. If that's what you're worried about, then why don't we say that if you don't trust him for money, you shouldn't trust him for his oath? Gemara says, that was an easy answer. We say that, no, even though we don't trust him to steal, he may steal, but it doesn't mean he's going to take a false oath. Okay, that's the only way that Rabbi Yochanan could work out, is if we're going to say that just because we don't trust him when it comes to money, that doesn't mean we don't trust him for an oath. Now the Gemara is going to try to prove this and challenge the proofs. That's what we're going to go through now.
Rabbi, can I just ask one quick question?
Yeah.
So we're worried that the guy is gonna, the whole takana is that somebody's gonna grab onto somebody's clothes or something, grab on, and then only be able to hold on to half of it. Like, if somebody's gonna grab on, they might as well steal the whole thing, no?
My question.
Well, maybe that's what he would want to do. He'd want to steal the whole thing, but he'll ultimately he's going to end up with half.
And that's a takana, okay.
So yeah, so we don't want him to. The person will say, "Well, look, half is better than everything." He'll grab half of everyone's thing. He'll grab onto the other end, and he'll just claim that that the whole thing is mine. They come to court, he gets half. That's what people do when they sue today, right? They say, "Okay, we'll settle." You know, they make up who you want to sue, and then who wants to go through that whole hassle? They say, "Okay, settle." Okay, they end up with half. Yeah.
Some robbers ask Hashem for guidance.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So the Gemara now says, if we don't say that this rule, that just because we suspect someone for stealing, it doesn't mean that we suspect them for what's it called? Perjury? Perjury is to swear falsely, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't mean we suspect them for perjury. If we don't say this, how did we ever say that anyone could swear? Why are we putting an oath on anyone? You say someone that claims half, that he admits to half, we put an oath on him. If you don't trust him for money, how do you put an oath on him? Right? Well, why are you putting an oath on him? Because you didn't trust him. That's why you're putting the oath. What's the whole thing? It says over there, you don't remember? Rabbah said that it's not because we don't trust him. We don't think he's a real thief. We think that he's going to pay it back. He just doesn't have the money right now. So that is buying time. So that's why we could have imposed an oath on him, because he's not. We still trust him that he's not a thief. So for that we have an answer. Teda, and I'll prove it to you. Ravidi Baravan, Rav Chisda. Ravidi Baravan says the name of Rav Chisda. Kefir b'milva kashaleidas. It becomes impossileidas. Someone that denies a loan is still acceptable as a witness. Why? Even though we find out that it was false. The reason is because could be he was just trying to buy time. He didn't have the money, so he denied it.
I thought that one he's known for doing a false oath. And
yeah, we're not talking about that he took a false oath. We're talking about that he just denied a loan, right? Even though, so it looks like he was stealing, but nevertheless, he still could testify. And the pikadon, but if it was an actual object, then he's puzzleidas. Then he's going to be puzzled, because over there he has no way of saying that I was buying time. Where's the object that you either admit or what do you mean buying time? You automatically buy time when you say that a broker got stolen. You say, okay, so I owe you the money. That's not a problem. He owes the money. But if he has the item, then he's a regular thief.
It seems like halakha has a lot of sympathy for somebody who just doesn't have the money.
Yes and no. Yes and no, because on the other hand, the guy that doesn't have the money, we have a whole institution here to get him to admit that he doesn't have the money, rather than to say that I don't owe it. So we're not, we know that this exists. That's the thing, and we're dealing with it. Yeah. I one time lent a friend money, and what do they say? Never lend a friend money. Yeah. Might lose them both. Right. But anyway, he tells me, calls me back. He says, I don't have the money, whatever. But the minhag by people that borrow is that they borrow again just a little bit more. Calls me back for more money. Anyway, no, he paid me back. But anyway.
How to keep a person away.
Yeah, did I tell you that? Yeah, someone told a Rebbe that people are bothering him in shul. So he said, I don't understand the problem. Are they rich or are they poor? He says, if they're rich, so ask them for a loan, and they'll avoid you. If they're poor, give them a loan, and then they'll.
Well, here's the example I'm thinking of. Now, we have this halakha that you hire a laborer, you have to pay him before the sun goes down.
Right.
That's only if you have the money. If you don't have the money, I don't think you're over on the law, on the mitzvah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I thought that if it's a worker, then you have to pay. I have to look that up. I thought if it's a worker, you have to give him the money. Is
Well,
that clear?
you have to give him the money, but I'm saying if you do not have it,
Let me look that up. Let me look that up.
Also,
That I can see in the Alter Rebbe in the Fish Mishpan in the Alter Rebbe.
that's how y'all look it up also.
How can we hire a worker?
thank you, Yitzi.
Okay, so the Gemara says, yeah, I hear. Right. That's it's surprising. Elohadetani Rami Bar Chama, but 1 second, Rami Bar Chama said about Shem Tzichem Kfir Mitzvah Vedav Mitzvah Shem Mechina Vashan Lisach Vaseicher. Remember, he said that we're going to impose oath on the, when do we impose an oath on the watchman, according to Rami Bar Chama? That's only if he denied and he admitted together with the claim. So he needed 3 cows for an oath, right? One he denied, one he admitted, and one he says was stolen. So name a migad so the fact that he's denying one, how could he impose an oath on him? Over there, it's an actual item. It's not a loan that he's trying to avoid because he doesn't have the money. Over there, it's an item. You said he's pasaleidas. How could he impose an oath on him? The Gemara says, Hasam nami over there also, it could be, even though it's an item, but it could be that he's just buying time. Why? I just need a little bit more time to catch the thief. I think I'll be able to catch the thief. So that's why he's buying time over there by the item as well. Inami. So why by a regular pikadon was he pasaleidas? That's an interesting problem, no? A regular item, according to Rav Chisda. It sounds like a Tosfos type of question.
Wouldn't he be able just to say that the item was stolen, and then when he finds it, just go back to the person?
That's coming up. The Gemara is coming up. I saw it somewhere. I knew I saw it. I saw it in the Gemara. Inami, or else I'll search more, and I'll go and find it in the meadow. I have to look better for it. Gemara says, "Yachi, my pasaleidas." Right, the what I thought before was the Gemara.
Swamp walk.
Yeah. The 1 second. So why before Rav Chisda say that if someone denies a deposit, an item that was deposited by him, why do we say that he's pasaleidas? I'm going to go search and I'll be able to find it. I'm just buying time. It says, you're right. When do we say that someone that denies an item that he's watching, that he's pasal, is not able to testify? That's because we have witnesses that say that at that moment that he was saying that, we knew that it was in his house, and he knew that it was in his house. And how they know that? I guess they saw him using it. Inami, or he had it in his hands. Remember the guy took the oath, but he put all the money in his cane. Mm-hmm. Remember that Gemara? Mm-hmm. He was holding it. He had it on himself at the time that he took the oath. Over there, he passed it over to the other guy. He said, "I gave it back to him. Hold it for me while I swear." He filled up the cane with coin. Rav Huna says that we have to make any person that's watching an item that he says that it got lost or stolen, we have to impose on him an oath. Rav Huna says has to take an oath that it's not in his possession. 1 second. How are you giving him that oath? Or why are you giving him that oath? Because you think that maybe he's lying. Maybe it is in his possession. And now you're putting on him an oath. So it must be that we don't say the fact that he's stealing. That means that he's guilty. We suspect him of perjury. Name him Migad the Gemara says that's not a proof. Over there, I had to pay for it. By that, even when the person has to pay for the item because he says an accident happened, we still impose on him an oath. But the fact that he's paying for it, then he doesn't consider himself as a thief, right? He's saying, I'm paying for it. I'm keeping it, but I'm paying for it. So it says, Amar le Ravacha me difti le Ravina v'ka'avar alav le'leisachmed. But he's violating the halacha of leisachmed. Leisachmed is you're not allowed to desire something that's not for sale. And over here, he's actually taking it. Well, he's paying for it. So the Gemara is thinking that what's the difference if he's violates the law of do not steal, or if he's violating law of do not covet, whatever covet means.
Like desire.
Covet means to desire. Yeah.
Eminent domain. Where the state wants to take your land and
No, but they have the rights to do that.
who gives them the right?
We did. We did. We put the state in charge.
Don't get him.
Social contract.
Don't get him excited. Leave it like that.
People don't realize that they're violating Leisachmed when they're paying money. They think that it's acceptable if they're going to pay the money to covet what someone else has. The Allah Hadam Rav Nachman, but this Rav Nachman says, Mashpina Yishuas Heses, Migu Dechashira Memaina. Name a Migu Dechashira Memaina Chashira. So we have a problem. Rav Nachman says that if someone denies a loan, we put on him a Shvus Heses. What are you thinking? You're thinking that he's stealing the money. So, but 1 second. So how could we give him an oath? Remember the case with bananas, where you have a homeowner and he tells his worker, "Go take money from the storekeeper," and then afterwards the storekeeper comes to him and says, "I paid," and the worker comes and says, "I never got paid." So over there we say that both of them have to swear, both the storekeeper and the bananas argued on this, but the storekeeper and the worker swear and they take from the balabayas. Name a migu dechashem chashvas. We should say that we don't trust them. How could they take an oath? The Sue, and another thing is Adam Rav Shesha Shalish Shvus Mashpin Isish Shvus Shlei Peshati Bashvus Shlei Shlachta Bayad Shvus Shenim B'Shusi. The watchman has to take an oath that I wasn't negligent, that I didn't use it for myself, and it's still not in possession. Maybe we should say that if we don't trust him for money, don't trust him for perjury. Ella rather we have a proof that we don't say that. Just because he's a thief doesn't mean that he's going to swear falsely. I guess I'll leave it here. We'll do Abaya after.
Come on, we're just getting started.
Should we finish? Abaya?
Yeah,
Abaya says Chashin Shem Milva Yeshana. Yesh Layalav. Maybe he has an old loan, and that's why now that he's denying what he's the fact he's denying it now, it's because he's really collecting money from what the person owed him from before, and now he has the money in his possession. He's not giving it back. He's claiming, I don't know what you're talking about, but really he's keeping it because the person that owed him money. How do you know he's a real thief? If you really think that, so then why don't you just let him take it without an oath? It says, we don't know, maybe he thinks that he might have a loan, and that's why he's taking, because he might have, but not because he thinks that he really does have. We don't, and maybe the fact that he thinks that he have a loan, maybe he'll also swear because he thinks that maybe it's correct. Maybe he'll think that it's okay for him to swear. If there's a doubt, people will avoid the oath. But if there's a doubt, it doesn't mean that they'll avoid taking the money.
Whoa.
My time, what's the reason? They'll think, well, if we ever find out, I can always give the money back. But the oath, you can never take back. So people will avoid taking an oath if there's a doubt, but it doesn't mean that they'll avoid taking money.
Woo.
Okay, should we learn tonight?
Yeah.
Today's Thursday, right?
Learn, baby.
The next sugya is a famous sugya called Takfu Kayan. You want to learn tonight at 8:30?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's have some
Okay.
fun tonight.
Okay,
So you can't do it tomorrow?
I'm not back.
Okay.
Let's do it. Let's have
Okay.
some fun tonight.
So
8:30.